Hello everyone. So even though it's actually pretty nice outside right now, I'm having an indoor day because I need to get all of my shelves organized and finally create a little garden library for myself. I have almost everything that I think I want to put on the shelves kind of laid out everywhere. And I'm just excited to get everything off of my table and organized. So let me show you all of the stuff that I have to fit onto the shelves. So these are the shelves. I started with 2, added a third one because I thought that fit the room better, and that means I have more places to put things. But these are from Crate & Barrel. I think it's called the Calypso collection. I already have some stuff on here because, for example, I know that my trailing plants, the pothos on the right, philodendron on the left, have to go on the corners so that they can trail down the sides of the bookcases. I have my garden basket collection up on the top here. And basically what I'm gonna do is fill in these shelves. Now the stuff that I have on here isn't in its final place yet. I think I'm gonna shift that plant like over, for example, try to put these plants in areas where they will work. And then I have some jars of flowers, which I'm gonna shift over to the furthest bookcase on the left, just so they're the furthest away from the sun so the sun doesn't bleach the flowers. But all of these are from last year. I don't think I'm actually growing any straw flowers this year, but I'm using these for decoration. Like if I have a garden party, which I'm gonna have next month with my friends, I'm gonna lay this out on the table. If I make wreaths, cards, anything like that, I will kind of throw some flowers in the gift bag or put them on a wreath. So I've been having fun using these flowers from last year's garden. These are some of the plants that I'm gonna put up there. There's my other philodendron, trying to figure out where these are going to go. And then on the table here, and on the floor, and on another table back there is everything that I want to put up there. So my plan for this space is to create my garden library, but also show off some garden related things that are sentimental to me, either because it was my mom's or my grandma's. So all of the books that I'm putting up here, I think for the most part are garden related. I don't have very many non-garden related books. Typically, if I'm reading a book, like if there's a new release that I want to read, I will either have an audiobook that I'll download or I'll download it on my Kindle. But for some reason with gardening books, I really love the actual physical book to look at photos. Also, I really like old gardening books. So I have a lot of like physical gardening books, not a lot of physical non-gardening books. So kind of by default, this is going to be the garden library. And I think I've organized all my books kind of into categories. That way it helps me if I know I want my herb book. I have an herb section so I can go and find the specific one that I'm looking for. So that's my plan as far as organization. We'll kind of see how that turns out, but let me quickly walk you through the books I have. I think I have another video I made over winter where I went more in depth with all of my gardening books, so I'll link that down below, but I'll show you what I'm working with. So starting here, now the string of hearts are gonna stay right there. I'm actually gonna give away probably half of these and only keep 3, but those are not going on the shelves. What I have here now starts my book collection. So this is my pile of books like about people. So I have 2 on Bunny Mellon, and then I think the one down here is Beatrix Potter's Gardening Life. So I only have a few of those. This is my like garden specific category topic of books. So I have like city gardening, there's container gardening, water gardening. So gardening books that are about one specific topic. Then I have my general gardening books. So anything that's just kind of about gardening overall, not a specific topic. I have a random book about wildlife gardening with kids that I might actually give away to one of my friends that has kids. This is my houseplant collection, which I think I only have 2 books on these. This one I got at a thrift store. I think it's from the 60s or 70s, but it is really entertaining because it's both helpful and sarcastic, and I like that combination. So that's my houseplant books. Then I have flowers specifically, so wildflowers, gardening with flowers. I think I have a book here by Rowan Blossom, Living with Flowers. I have books that are monthly, if that makes sense. So each chapter in these 2 books is a different month. I like to read the month as I'm in it. So in January, I'll read January. I'm much better about that during the winter compared to the summer when life gets busy and I don't just sit down and read as often. This one is called The Tulip by Anna Pavord. I don't really know what category to put it in, but it's pretty, so I'll put that somewhere. This section is my book or notebook that I do things with or write things in. So tea recipes. This is a little garden journal that asks you to do activities. I have a pressed flower book. I think this is, these are books that I kind of like to go through just little chunks at a time. So The World in 80 Plants, so I can read about a couple plants. This is called 10,000 garden questions. So again, these I'll just kind of be like coffee table books or maybe bathroom books where you just read a couple pages at a time. It's not really sit down and read a whole book. I think this is just a book on poetry, so not necessarily garden related, but I do like old books like this as well. I have some more on the floor. These are my herb specific books. This is, I don't know, kind of like things to ingest, both like physically and mentally category. And then this, maybe I'll put this with like the bunny melon section. So even though it's not about a specific person, it's about a specific garden. Then I have a collection of items. Most are gardening related, like vases that are either things that I found at thrift stores, like that one that I think is pretty, or things that were my mom and grandma's. So these vases here were my grandma's. This clock was actually like sitting in our childhood home. It doesn't work. I need to figure out how to get this working if possible, but I just have a lot of memories tied to that. So I'm gonna put that up there. This vase thing is staying here. I have a little poem that I got made at a party last year. So just some, knickknacks here and there that I'm hoping I can find room for. Ooh, a little tulip painting that I got at not our garden walk, but another neighborhood garden walk that I want to put on the shelves. And then over here, I have another little thrift store find, this basket that I wanted to put African violets in. So I got these thinking, they'll definitely fit. And they don't. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. I'll figure something out. This is my flower presser. This is a little candelabra that I found at a thrift store. So there's little candles in there. It's tulips. I think that's really pretty. Another basket, and then other miscellaneous items from thrift stores. And then I just have some room sprays I made. And then this is an old toolbox that I'm using. Another example of where I need 3 hands. 1 second. That I'm using to store my seeds, or most of my seeds. This I just found from a thrift store down the street. I really like it. I like old beat up things, so I think I would like to display that if possible. If not, I'm just gonna put it back in the closet where I had it. But I think order of operations will be kind of plants and books first, then knickknacks, and just moving things around and see where they fit best. So let's get started. All right, so I think I'm done for now. I basically put up here everything I wanted. I realize I have a lot more space for books. It's funny, when I had just one shelf for all my books, it seemed like I had a lot, but now that I have more shelves for books, I feel like I can get more, but I am trying to restrain myself until I get through all of the books I already have. So let me give you a quick tour. So I do have all of my little book categories kind of positioned out. Again, I think that'll help me just know where exactly to go to get the book I want. But down here, I put this vase from a thrift store. Now, the only problem about the vases that I like on here is that unless I had really, really short flowers, when I put flowers in them, I probably won't be able to leave them there. So in that case, they'll either go to that table in the corner or this table here to display the flowers inside. Then I have my 2 room sprays. I have my pothos, variegated pothos there. These are all of the books about people or people's gardens. I have the 2 kind of coffee table books here because I don't have a coffee table that can fit them, maybe one day. I have the 2 African violets here so you can see what my idea was. Execution 1, idea 10. We'll see if I try to plant it in there. I mean, there's no drainage in this, so I was hoping for the containers to fit in there, but I will play around with that and see. I did want to put those, I know they like bright indirect light, so I wanted to put them as close to the light as possible. I still don't know if, this far away from the window, which is right here, will give them enough light to continue to bloom, but even if it's just the leaves, I'll like them either way. Then here is kind of the books I go through on a monthly basis with these 2. This one, the journal, is also on a monthly basis, so I decided to add it to this category. This one is also written by this author, so I just put it here because I didn't know what other category to put it in. I have my Philodendron Brazil, an empty basket, and then these are all my just old books, not gardening specific, although a lot of them are related to nature. So those are up there. Then coming over to my middle shelf. So down here I have the little journal where I put my pressed flowers. I have my flower presser. This little dish that I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with. This is one of the Proven Winners House Joy plants. So it's a calathea in this little jar that you only add water to when it gets low. You don't water like a regular plant. And this is the longest I've kept a calathea alive. I got it from the event back in November. Then I found this in one of the books. So we went to San Isidro Ranch in Santa Barbara. I got a little postcard of the front to kind of remember it. It was tucked away in a book. So I found that and just popped that up here. These are the vases that were my grandma's. So I wanted those front and center. I don't really know if I love this shelf right now, but I'll kind of play around and see how I change it in the future. The clock from my mom. Those 2 are the houseplant books. That bowl is also from my grandma. My toolbox for seed storage. These are all of the flower specific books. I figured it would work well to put those next to the dried flowers. All of my herb type books or nourishing yourself books. Another vase from my grandma. This painting from the garden walk. My other Philodendron Brazil, which is just a propagation from that one. And in the bottom shelf here, I have all of the general gardening books, the gardening books by topic. I put this candelabra here because I figured if I'm gonna light it, I want it on a lower shelf for easy access. And then my poem that I had framed. So that is my new little garden library. Don't know if there's enough books to consider it a library, but that is what I'm going to call it. And I don't know if I ever showed this little corner, but there are 4 coat hooks here, 2 for my hats in the, well, I'm not outside much in the winter, but in the fall as it starts to get cooler, I will hang my coat on one of these, but then I have my basket with some dried gumfrino from last year, a little piece of art to cover some controls for speakers that aren't set up in the house, and then a little waist belt that I use when I'm gonna have a lot of tools and be doing a lot of garden work, and then a little dried flower wreath. So that is what's going on in that corner. But yeah, I think I really like how this turned out. My table is much more empty, although there is still some stuff on it, but I love now how this looks. So that's everything for today. I am excited to get another area organized. It always feels nice when things are in their proper places. I feel like I can breathe a little bit more, but just the fact that I'm able to get this room together too. So I think November is when I started kind of going through the design process, and now I have all my shelves. I'm able to put things back up. So it's been a long time coming, and I'm really excited that it's now all here. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video, where I'm sure we'll be back out into the garden.